What's the latest on the EV rebate repeal in Congress? The bill isn't done, but there are 4 key differences between the House and Senate proposals that narrow down how it's likely to turn out and the impact for dealers and shoppers. Now, on new EV rebates for purchases, the House version says $7,500 rebates for purchased EVs will end on December 31st, except for automakers that haven't yet sold 200,000 units by the end of this year. That's Honda, VW, BMW. Those would still get the $7,500 rebate until they hit 200,000 units or the end of 2026, whichever comes first. On the other end, the Senate says that the rebates for purchase EVs will end 180 days after the bill is signed for all automakers. That 180 days could easily go well into Q1 of next year by the time the president signs the bill. It's likely that some form of rebates will persist into 2026, but I don't know exactly what that'll look like yet. We will at least get a Q4 of deadline-driven buying for new EVs. Let's turn to new EV rebates for leased vehicles. The House version says December 31st, 2025, with an extension for automakers that haven't yet sold 200,000 vehicles. The Senate, however, does something different. Immediately upon bill signing, it would end rebates for leased vehicles that do not meet domestic manufacturing and component sourcing rules. For vehicles that do meet those guidelines, including most Cadillac, Chevys, F-150s, Kia 6s, they have 180 days after the bill is signed. The most likely outcome is the Senate version, which means a real split in EV leasing versus purchasing over the second half of 2025. Let's go to the used EV rebate side. The House version says that ends December 31st, 2025 for all battery electric and plug-ins. The Senate, they have 90 days from the time the bill is signed before the rebate is removed. I think December 31st is still the most likely end date for the $4,000 used EV rebate, because by the time the bill is completed and signed, it won't be too much of a difference between the 90 days and December 31st, but it really does depend on what happens over the next week or so and how fast that process happens. There are a couple of other EV-related proposals in the competing budget bills. The House version adds a $250 annual federal registration fee for EVs and $100 extra for plug-in hybrids. Now, that is not mentioned in the Senate version at all. The Senate proposal allows taxpayers making under $100,000 a year to deduct interest on auto loans as long as the vehicle meets domestic sourcing requirements. I don't expect either of these provisions to make it into the final bill, but an annual EV registration fee at the federal level could be heavily damaging to EV adoption. That could open the door to eventual additional federal fees on other types of vehicles like mild hybrids to pay for underfunded road maintenance. Since gas taxes haven't been covering maintenance of the interstate system for a long time, there's a lot going on in DC right now on this front, and we'll see what actually ends up happening. Just within the next week or two is probably where the Senate and House bills will come together, and there are a lot bigger issues besides this EV credit that are still being negotiated.